Season 3, Episode 1 of Behind the Wrestler. My guest for Episode 1 is none other than the man himself, Kingi. Thank you very much for taking the time out and telling us your story. So, the first question, which you've probably been asked multiple times, is who, when and where inspired you to become a professional wrestler?
Wasn't so much the first time that I saw wrestling. Like, I grew up late 80s when WWF was big and we had it on TV, but by the time it left TV I was about 6 or 7, so I wasn't really kind of thinking that's what I wanted to do. It wasn't until it came back onto TV in like the late 90s when I was probably like 15, and it was more so the fact that I went, oh that's right, I remember this stuff, I really like this stuff. And being a little bit older, you can kind of figure out a little bit of the mechanics behind it. So I figured, I could probably do most of what these guys are doing on TV. And yeah, just kind of went from there. So it's more the late 90s that really inspired me, but it was the late 80s stuff that I remembered as a kid. So probably once WCW came back on TV, late 97, early 98 is when I got hooked back into it. And yeah, it just grew from there. Just figured, being a little older, I could kind of figure out how it worked, and I can do that, and I can do that, and I can do that. And just pretty much went from there.
Trying to find a school around that time over here was, I assume, pretty hard because
there wasn't one.
There wasn't one, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So trying to like actually pursue that goal and that dream of yours. What was the challenges that you had to go through, as there was no school pretty much in New Zealand at the time?
Well, the only reason we ended up finding somewhere is a whole bunch of us found the Mania Women's Ring. We all saw it at the Big Day Out. One year, I think it was the Big Day Out 2000, so it would have been January 2000. And then by May, we'd tracked the place down. We didn't realise that they'd already started taking on guys, so you had the likes of The Machine, David O'Connor, amongst a few others. And so they had started, I think, in the February, or maybe even the January of that year. And then the likes of myself, Troy Rafferty, and then you had Alexander, Alfred Ford, and all those guys all came in at the same time pretty much. I think we came in 2 weeks apart from each other.
Right.
And even the guy, Steve, the trainer at the time, he knew the very basics, knew how to roll, knew how to fall, had a basic understanding of kind of psychology, but not a major understanding of psychology. So all that kind of that stuff, once he showed us the basics, rolling, falling, basic posting moves, all that kind of stuff, hitting the ropes, hitting the turnbuckles. A lot of our psychology, we pretty much had to work out ourselves,
Right.
And yeah, so I'd love to have had the start that guys have today. That would have been great. You've got 4 places you can choose from just within all.
Yeah.
And now we had nothing. So.
Like, I know there's a whole bunch of footage about yourself and your profile and the things that you have done. One of the matches that I saw, that you had a match with The Machine, who is a IPW Hall of Famer, the first ever IPW Hall of Famer. Mm-hmm. What was your thought process and that match going and wrestling The Machine, who later on is a legend here?
Oh, it was just our chance to have our fun, what we've been kind of training for, and what we've been wanting to do. Mm-hmm. I think the thought process at the time was just to kind of get something going. Whether we were consciously thinking about actually starting a proper company or not, I don't know, but I guess subconsciously we were.
Right.
That's, I guess, what you see today. It's more about having fun at the time, because there was no other wrestling going on, so if there's nothing else, we can just kind of do what we want, which is what we did. I think I saw that match. It was put up online recently,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's still a bit. That stuff's still a bit scratchy, but I think the basis of it's not too fundamentally it's all right. But I guess psychology-wise, you look at different things. Oh, that could have been way better and way better. But I think it holds up all right. Yeah, it wasn't too bad.
But I think you assume you took your first table bump in that match.
Table.
He put you through a table via elbow drop, and what was the?
Yeah, I can't remember if he did one in the first match we did.
Yeah.
Because that first match, I think the first match was better than that second match.
Right.
Just because it was
less
garbage.
violence. Yeah.
Less garbage, yeah. I think it might have been the first table.
Yeah.
There you go. I can't remember my first table.
There you go. First table.
Can't remember where I lost my table virginity, guys. Sorry. Sorry to disappoint you.
So moving on, like a couple of years down the track, or the form of IPW began, and you were one of the co-founders of IPW. What was the thought process of, hey, let's try and form a different school so people have different opportunities and have different chances at attacking their goals and their dreams?
So IPW sprang up out of the demise of MPW, which was mainly pro wrestling.
Right.
They brought in a new director of the wrestling side of things, and she just didn't really know what she was doing. To the point where we all just walked out. So that kind of tells the story about how good she was.
Yeah.
And then IPW sprang up out of that. It was more so we could, I'd say at the time, it's more so we could just carry on what we just started.
Right.
Again, we're all 19, 20, 21, 22 years old at the time. We're not really thinking about kind of the long-term kind of future of it. We're just like, I want to keep wrestling. Yeah. This is fun.
Yeah.
And you do shows and people pay to come and see it.
Yeah.
So it's more about that, I think, at the time. I think the older a lot of us have got that have hung around now it's more about, creating the IPW legacy and having somewhere where guys can come in and train and learn and do what they want to do.
Yeah.
I guess it's just wisdom with age, which we have a lot of. Lots of age and wisdom.
If people don't know, you used to have dreads and you used to wrestle with dreads. I don't know the story behind this, but what happened with the dreads?
Cut them off.
You wanted to cut them off. You didn't want to continue.
I had two sets. The first set, they got pretty shitty, and so I was ready to cut them off. So we decided in a match with Dalnox, I'll put my dreads on the line.
Right.
So it's quite a relief actually to get rid of them because they're bloody hot. And the interesting part about that first set that I had cut off, they brought the old Brutus Barber clippers to the ring afterwards, and that was Daddy Cool. And so I'm knocked out and I'm sitting there like this and they're holding my hair up like that. And he gives the clippers to the machine and the machine just goes like this, about that far away from my scalp. And I did start bleeding after it.
Oh wow.
But the machine almost took off a chunk of my head, just trying to chop off my dreadlocks. And the second one's just
gone.
Can't be bothered.
Yeah.
Can't be bothered with it.
Fair enough. You had the opportunity of going over to the States and to do a couple of OVW shows and the filming stuff for it as well, for TV. How did that come about, and what was the whole process and the experience and the whole cycle of that? What did you take away from it?
We made contact with them through a friend of Mr. 100%, Buddy Wayne. So he told, what was his name? I forgot his name already. The guy that ran the place. He told them that we were coming, so we showed up, and there's a big warehouse. And there's like nondescript, so we're like, is this the place? And then you see the little OVW sign. And we walked in and it was like a big black box kind of theatre with some seating, and the ring was all set up, looked all very professional. And that's where they ran their trainings as well. So we ended up sleeping on a couple of guys' couches for a few nights, the first couple of nights. Worked some dark matches for them. Just went and did some trainings. Did some trainings with Nick Dinsmore in the rookie class and Rip Rogers for the advanced class, which is an experience. If you ever trained with Rip Rogers, you'll know it's fun. Just never take him too seriously. No, he was good. And yeah, so we did our dark matches. Got onto the weekend tapings, which is where they go around and just do different towns and things like that. Worked the tag champs on TV, and if we hadn't had to leave, you know, they did ask us how long we were around because they were going to put the belts on us, but
Oh wow.
that sucked because we're off next week. So yeah, did a whole bunch of TV tapings there, and the second time as well. I did more singles the second time because my tag partner didn't have his license, so I got to work a few singles matches. Yeah, very good experience in terms of learning for TV. Wrestling for TV and wrestling for just like a live crowd, it's a big difference.
Right.
Because obviously a lot of the focus is straight down here, because there'll be 200-300 people in the crowd, but there's thousands of people on the other end of the camera. So you know, they just talk about awareness, and luckily for them, their camera placements are just always the same spots. So you can hit sell straight over to that corner, or hit sell straight over to that corner and selling your face, or just staying with the hard cam. So it's a pretty interesting experience.
And taking that experience and bringing it back here and trying to teach all the younger guys of like, hey, this is what I learned over here, and I'm going to try and teach you guys. What was the difference from learning it and then trying to teach that stuff back at home?
It's difficult because it's just part of the culture over there.
Right.
It's just what they're used to and how they're used to doing things. I found I slipped into that pretty easily.
Right.
Just the culture of training and the movement and how you structure matches and things like that. So it's difficult, kind of trying to pull that whole kind of culture back here. Because you know, like myself and Vinny were the only ones, and was the 100% were the only kind of ones that knew what we really meant. Right. And it's hard to kind of translate from there to here. And a lot of guys that I've talked to that have been over there, you know, they know exactly what we mean. It's just kind of hard to. So you bring back bits and pieces. I mean, there's a lot that I couldn't really get across to these guys without them having to go over there. Right. But there was some aspects of it that did help. Like their camera work and things like that, and just small things. But unless you're kind of over there and you're immersed yourself in that kind of wrestling culture that they have there, it's kind of it's tough to pick up the whole thing. Right. You know, you have to be over there to do it. I imagine it's the same in Mexico. Yeah. You know, you go over there and you learn all the lucha stuff, and you can bring stuff back from over there because you're not immersed in the culture, or even in Japanese style as well. Yeah. You can't get like really a full scope of it. Right. So that's why I try and encourage guys to just go everywhere. Go Japan, Mexico, US, Canada, go there, because it's the best way to learn it. Right. I can only bring so much back. Yeah. You know, unless you're the world's greatest teacher.
What was the transition for you from not just wrestling and being a wrestler, but also becoming a coach and a teacher to teach all the up and coming guys who look up to you and be like, hey, I want to be
I've always been. I taught the guys that started wrestling straight after me in 2002 and 2003. So I've just always been that guy. Yeah. You know. Yeah. So it wasn't really a transition. Yeah. I guess that's the. I don't know if it's a luxury, but the thing when you're the first one there. Yeah. Yeah.
What's the two key differences of like when you started and to see the evolution of wrestling here to what it is now? Like there was a point in time where there kind of wasn't that much eyes on here, but now that do you think there's more eyes on it now than when you first started?
Oh yeah, it's because there's something happening. Yeah. There was nothing before. There's nothing for your eyes to be on. Right. So yeah, it's massive difference. I'd love to have been coming up through this time now. It would have been great. Yeah. But that's what it is.
You have had amazing matches with amazing people, and you recently had a match with Mr. Juicy, and it was the biggest show for IPW, and it was the end of the year show. What was the come about of you wrestling Mr. Juicy, and what was the experience from that?
Well, it's actually a shift around. It was originally I was supposed to have someone else, and then Juicy got a hold of us. So I chatted with him, and we got him over. He's a mate of mine, so. And I think last year he talked about me bringing him over for that show. I was like, okay, bring him over, bump the card up a little bit. So yeah, I was supposed to have someone else originally, but because I hadn't had a match with Adam, I was like, yeah, I'll have a match with Adam. So yeah, he's very good with his character stuff, so it makes it made it a lot easier. Especially first match out, you don't want to do too much in the first match. You just want to kind of introduce the crowd to the basics, and then from there the rest of the show can go upwards. Right. So yeah, it's a nice easy match. He chopped the shit out of me, but I'd rather do that than throw myself around being an old fella. Cheap pops, man.
Yeah, cheap pops. You've also been in a tag team with none other than Vinny Dunn. Working with Vinny Dunn and doing your guys' tag team run and the tag team titles and stuff. What was the what was the process of you were wrestling as a singles competitor? Prior to that, you were a tag team competitor, then transitioning into single, then going back into tag team. Was that a different and a hard transition, or was it just?
No, not really. Since we learned the most in Canada and the US as a tag team. Right. Singles concept is pretty simple. So once you figure out both, it's kind of easy to transition from one to the other, and then back again. So no, not too difficult. If anything, it was just a little bit different. Switching from heel and face. Right. And then switch from heel and face to single, switch from heel and a face in tag team. It was a lot easier. Yeah, and plus when we're here, I just let Vinny do all the yelling, get all the heat, and I just hold the match together.
Fair enough.
I just do all the nuts and bolts. I'm the nuts and bolts.
So you obviously prefer being a heel than a face.
Oh yeah, just a bit easier.
Just a bit easier.
Yeah. But then the times you want to be a face is because everyone else is not doing it properly. You're like this. Not everyone, but young guys.
Yeah, you've wrestled a lot of young guys who are quite new, and you've been teaching them in the matches as well. How do you find from going to just a normal match to, okay, he's a bit new, I gotta teach him how to do this and do this and do this, and teach him about ring positioning in the ring? What's your
just by keeping it as simple as possible.
Right.
People tend to overcomplicate wrestling and matches, and that's why you see so much of this, like backwards and forwards, and the crowd can kind of get lost. Right. So I try to keep it as simple as possible, because the simpler you keep it, the easier it is for the crowd to understand. Right. So, and it's within those simple structures, it's things like ring positioning, facial expressions, slowing right down in certain moments in matches so you can put across an angle. So it's that kind of stuff that I try and get guys to concentrate on. You can do 15 million flips in a spot and a drop down leap frog, hip toss, hurricane runner, 360, 450 on an upside down table, all you want. Yeah. But unless you can do something where you take the emotion of something and hold it with the crowd for that split second. Right. Good little things like on the international scene, examples of it is like the Osprey with they did the runner off the top and he lands on his feet, right, and they stop. And then you can see the close up on Will's face, and the close up on the other guys, and then they have the slow turn. Yeah. It's that kind of stuff that I try and get over with the guys, right? Because that's the stuff that sells you sells the match, and it connects emotionally with the crowd.
Right.
Because again, we want to focus on trying to bring people in that don't watch wrestling.
Right.
I mean, you can have your Spot Fest 3,000, but that's going to appeal to the fans that already come to our show.
Mm-hmm.
The whole point is to try and grow our show. You want to bring people in that don't usually watch wrestling,
Right.
and if they don't, they come to the show for the first time. You want them to see something cool, and then come back again, and then come back again, and then tell their friends to come back again. So those are the aspects that I think grow the business.
Right.
So those are the things that I kind of emphasise. Slow moments, emotions, all that kind of stuff. I try and just keep the match structure for new guys. Keep the match structure simple, and then just focus on little things like that to get your character and get the match over. So.
From your, since you've started to where you are now, what is who are your favorite opponents you have wrestled so far, and who would you like to wrestle near the future?
Favorites. Cruz from Australia. He was always a favourite because we could just go out there and do anything. Didn't matter what we didn't even have to plan anything. So he was always fun. Dale Knox, Vinny Dunner, always fun. Fun and easy. Who else? Robbie Eagles and Liam Fury.
Right.
Two of my other favourites for it. Especially Liam. Liam's good. Who else? There's a few guys in the States, but no big names. Adam Revolver and Ted McNally were the tag team champs and WWE. They were real good. We'll just stick with them.
You mentioned Liam Fury was one of your favorite guys to work with. How and what are your thoughts of him and seeing him grow from when he started to where he is now? And
oh yeah, massive growth. I just wish he was not here. He should be overseas somewhere. So we had a chat about a year ago about what he was doing. So we kind of just made sure he was. Well, I kicked him in the ass and said, "Why are you still here?"
Fair enough.
Because he should be not here. He should be overseas somewhere making money.
Yeah.
So I think at the moment that's the plan still for him. So it's just he always had that natural ability. It was just kind of learning how to structure and shape matches to suit. The other thing that I think he has a much better grasp of now is protecting himself as a gimmick. Right. Protecting like what he thinks should happen in a match. I think previously that's the biggest thing that he learned for me that he learned this year was doing that. Like I think previously kind of maybe if he hits the other guy wanted to do this, you go, oh, okay. But now he's more, well, why? Yeah. He asks a lot more questions why, and he wants to make sure that everything in the match has a place.
Yeah.
Which you always should. I think that's the biggest growth that I've seen out of him this year. He's a bit more stingy about what he will and won't allow, which is good. You need that.
Yeah.
Because that sets your standard. If there's certain things that you won't do because you know they're shit or you can't do them or whatever, you need to stick to that. And protect your gimmick and even yourself. So that's the biggest thing from this year from him. So.
You talked about protecting your, essentially your character and your gimmick. How was the name of your gimmick formed? Like, how did you think of it? Did you have to come up with it? Did it take you a long time to come up with it?
No, not really. I was lucky in the sense that I was one of the first guys. So I didn't really need so much of a gimmick, just a name.
Right.
And I just built my reputation on top of my name. It was when we went to the States that I decided I needed a proper gimmick, so we went with the Māori gimmick, which worked really well. Got over. Everywhere we went, everyone was happy with what we did. When I lived in Oz, I did the same thing there. Again, I got booked pretty much wherever I wanted.
Right.
And when I came back, yeah, it was me and Vinny like to dress nice.
Yeah.
So we just think, why don't we just do that?
Yeah.
So we just did that. It's kind of evolved from there, but you know, there's always room for more stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll keep you posted on the next one.
Nice. Do you have any advice for all of the trainees and all of the young and upcoming people who's trying to achieve their goals and their dreams to essentially, break out and go and do this as a living?
You just go everywhere you can and learn off everyone you can. I mean, there's four places you can work in Auckland now or train in. Go to all of them.
Right.
You know, I've got guys here that I know train at the dojo. I don't care, go do it because you're going to get better. And then when you come back and rest for us in the show, you're going to be better.
Right.
So yeah, I don't like limiting people limiting themselves to certain people. Go and learn off everyone.
Right.
I think there's a few guys that train with you guys.
Yeah.
Did any of our guys train with you guys? Some of our guys do from time to time.
Time to time, yeah.
Yeah.
Some of them come in, some of them.
So yeah, just go and learn off everyone. If you're going to go over to Oz, try and get booked at as many places as you can. But a good way to start is to go and train everywhere.
Right.
You know, go and train at PWA first for a couple of weeks, or with MCW if you can get into their academy and roll around there, and then you might get put on a show or whatever. But just go everywhere, learn as much as you can, and hey, you'll learn more, you'll get better. But like Chris Jericho's a perfect example.
Right.
He went everywhere: Japan, Mexico, Europe, and all of that stuff, and he's still going.
Yeah.
You know, yeah. Just go everywhere, learn everything, experience everything, wrestle for everyone, pull down everyone's ring, put everyone else's ring up, and do all that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't limit yourself.
With the wrestling scene in New Zealand now, as there's a whole bunch more talent coming over here and working with our guys and working with everyone else, what's your thoughts on the scene now as it's getting bigger and bigger? Like, where do you see it's going to head?
Oh, I think it can still get bigger. Definitely can get bigger. A lot of it depends on, these like New Japan and Ring of Honor and those kind of companies lifting their profiles. It's those guys get more coverage here because those guys are the more accessible guys for us and that we could bring over. Like we can't get WWE guys or anything like that.
Right.
Yeah, so the more, and that's what's happening at the moment. Like New Japan guys, New Japan's profiles raising, Ring of Honor's, all of those guys' profiles are raising. Even World Series Wrestling and those guys that come down here as well. We just have to make sure we have a platform for them to come down to.
Right.
I mean, there's no point unless IPW keeps improving the quality of our shows, we're not going to attract those guys. Mm-hmm. I've got a lot of good connections in Australia, so I think mostly the Australian market's open to us, kind of whoever we really would want.
Yeah.
So that's good. But even through some of our Australian contacts, is where we're talking to American guys. So yeah, that was part of my really getting a bit more involved because I do know a lot of those guys.
Yeah. And
I can talk to them and kind of get them over pretty easily. It's all about it, at the end of the day. Again, unfortunately, that's how the world works.
Yeah.
But there you go. We just need to make sure there's a platform and somewhere awesome for them to come and showcase what they're doing. So.
With one of the special shows for IPW was IPW 15. 15 years of IPW was a big celebration where you guys obviously announced the Hall of Fame for the machine. What was the the whole process of trying to put that together?
It been something that the team had been talking about for a while. They always knew they wanted the machine to be the first one in there. No one had really talked about, from IPW's side of things, no one had really talked to Chuck, myself and a couple of others, even myself I hadn't talked to him for a long time. just talked to him, see if he was keen. He was real keen. He got some of his family out, and I was just more worried about how it was going to play out on the night. It played out alright. Apart from him taking forever to put his mask on before he destroyed Paul Sayers, which was pretty funny. Funny story about that. He compressed one of his vertebrae doing that.
Oh really?
Doing that move.
Oh wow.
And he was on. I think he was on crutches for for a couple of weeks after he did one move. Landed on his butt, hurt his back. We almost had to carry him out of the ring, which was. Don't worry, he had a good laugh out of it. And the good thing about it is since then, we've all caught up with him, with the machine a lot more, which is good. It's kind of reintroduced him back into the group. And I plan on getting him involved a lot more again soon at some point, because he's got that legacy there.
You've obviously you're considered one of the trainers and the coaches for IPW, and I did a interview with Liam Fury, and he mentioned his trainers, and he mentioned as you one of them. Getting to see your trainees and the platform that they are going at and the way that they're heading, what's your advice towards them, and like your thoughts behind it?
Someone like Liam,
or someone like Grace Lightning is a good example. She is getting a lot better from where she started to where she is now. Yeah.
Just for us as a team, it's a bit of validation. We train these guys now. Someone like a Liam is ready to take their next step. We've had Charlie, Evie, gone off and done what she's done. Aaron's been through the school. Travis has been through the school. Neva's been through the school. Even Taylor Adams has been through the school. Taz and Olivia have been through the school. So it's a big sense of validation for the school, but it also is a big sense of, to me, if you can't, not so much get up to that level, but you should be able to get to a decent enough level where you can get booked within the country at least. You should be able to, and the process that you go through here should get you up to that point. If not, then maybe it's not meant to be, or you're just not from the net.
Your thoughts on you mentioned Travis Banks. He came through the school and then eventually went over to the States and the UK, and now is a star over in the UK and is doing phenomenal work. What are your thoughts about Travis Banks and from where he was to where he is now?
Just intensity, tenacity would be the two words that I'd use to describe Trav. He was always he's of the same mindset then as he is now, and that's what's got him to where he is. I talked to him not long ago, just after his injury. So that was a bit of a downer for him, I know, but now he's back up and running again. I saw him wrestling the other day. What can you say? He's chased everything that he ever wanted to do. I think he's still got a little bit left to do. I'm sure if you ask him, he'd agree that there's still a little bit left that he wants to achieve. And I'm just kind of looking forward to seeing him do it.
Do you have anything that you would like to say to the viewers? Anything that you would give further more advice about?
If you're a fan, come to the show, or I bunch you. If you're a wrestler, come to training, or I bunch you. And if we have a match, I'll probably bunch you.
Thank you very much for taking the time out and giving us the insight and giving us your story and your thoughts and your advice.
No worries. And don't fall asleep in the sun.
Yeah, don't fall asleep in the sun. He got really bad sunburn, by the way.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for joining us, and I will see you guys on the next episode.